He was born in a log cabin, rose from poverty, and changed the course of American history forever. But wait till you hear what else he did. Things most history books leave out. Abraham Lincoln was born on February the 12th, 1809, in a one-room log cabin in the backwoods of Kentucky. Life was tough. His family lived on the edge of the frontier, where survival meant hard work, long hours, and little comfort. His father, Thomas Lincoln, was a struggling farmer and carpenter. His mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, died when Abraham was just 9 years old. A devastating loss that left a deep scar on the boy. His formal education? Less than a year. Schools were scarce and inconsistent, but Lincoln's hunger for knowledge was unstoppable. He taught himself by reading borrowed books, anything he could get his hands on. He read the Bible, Aesop's Fables, Robinson Crusoe, and eventually law books. He would write math problems on wooden boards, read by firelight, and practice speeches aloud while plowing fields. Even as a child, he stood out, tall, awkward, and unusually thoughtful. When his family moved to Indiana and later to Illinois, Lincoln worked odd jobs: rail splitter, store clerk, postmaster. He did manual labor during the day, but spent his nights reading and debating. And something remarkable started to emerge: his gift for storytelling, humor, and powerful language. It wasn't just knowledge he craved. It was understanding, justice, and the law. In 1832, at age 23, he ran for the Illinois state legislature. He lost, but just 2 years later, he tried again and won. That marked the beginning of a long political journey. And wait till you hear how that journey transformed not just his life, but an entire nation. During these early political years, Lincoln also began studying law more seriously. By 1836, he passed the bar and became a licensed attorney. His reputation grew quickly. He earned a name for his honesty and sharp reasoning. People even started calling him Honest Abe. But politics wasn't easy. He served multiple terms in the Illinois legislature and spent time as a Whig in the U.S. House of Representatives. He spoke out against the Mexican-American War and was an early critic of slavery's expansion. But for a while, his political career stalled. He returned to practicing law and stayed largely out of the spotlight. Then came the Kansas-Nebraska Act in 1854, a law that allowed territories to choose whether or not to allow slavery. It reignited his passion. Lincoln re-entered politics with a vengeance. His debates with Stephen A. Douglas during the Illinois Senate race in 1858 became legendary. Though Lincoln lost that race, he gained something far more valuable: national attention. His arguments against slavery were clear, moral, and powerful. Just 2 years later, in 1860, he was elected President of the United States. But he entered office with the country on the verge of collapse. Southern states were seceding, and before Lincoln could even unpack in the White House, the Civil War began. Imagine this: a man who had grown up in poverty with barely any education was now leading a deeply divided nation through its bloodiest conflict. And here's where Lincoln's character truly shined. He wasn't just a commander-in-chief, he was a moral compass. He believed the Union must be preserved, but not at the expense of human freedom. In 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing all slaves in Confederate-held territory. It didn't end slavery entirely, but it transformed the war into a fight for human liberation. Wait till you hear what else he did. That same year, Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address, just 272 words long, but one of the most powerful speeches in American history. Standing on a battlefield soaked with blood, he redefined the war's purpose: that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." Meanwhile, he faced immense pressure. Critics attacked him from all sides. His own cabinet often disagreed with him. The war dragged on with unimaginable casualties. But Lincoln remained steady. He studied military maps late into the night, visited troops, and never stopped thinking about the everyday Americans who were paying the ultimate price. In 1864, against all odds, Lincoln was re-elected. By then, victory was near. General Ulysses S. Grant was closing in on Confederate forces, and momentum had shifted. In April 1865, just days after General Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse, the Civil War was over. Lincoln had preserved the Union. He had ended slavery. He had done the impossible. But just when the country needed him most for rebuilding, tragedy struck. On April 14, 1865, just 5 days after the war ended, Abraham Lincoln went to Ford's Theater with his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln. A famous actor and Confederate sympathizer named John Wilkes Booth entered the president's box and shot him in the back of the head. Lincoln died the next morning. The nation was stunned. People wept openly in the streets. Trains carried his body in a long funeral procession across states, giving millions the chance to mourn. But his legacy didn't die with him. Lincoln reshaped what America meant, not just politically, but morally. He proved that leadership could be rooted in humility, that progress could come through principle, that a man born in a log cabin with barely any schooling could rise to become one of the greatest leaders the world has ever known. And here's something to think about. He never stopped growing. Through every failure, every setback, he kept reading, learning, adapting, always pushing himself to be better. Maybe that's the real secret to Abraham Lincoln's greatness. He didn't just save a country. He redefined what it meant to be American.